Welcome back to this fortnight in film. Man, it's been a while since we've done the show. And we've got a lot of movies to talk about this week. I'm your host, Nick Finanto, joined as always by my co-host, Midwest Matt Lauer. Matt, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing good. Yep.
Awesome.
So, Matt, I think we've seen the same things over the last couple of weeks. A lot of big, high-profile movies have come out. What's
well,
first
some of
on?
them. I didn't get to the Solo one.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I'm just curious as to what you think about it.
Oh, okay.
I've heard a lot of different thoughts on that one.
Okay. Well, then let's start with Solo, since we won't do spoilers because you haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Solo, a Star Wars story, directed by Ron Howard. It was okay. I liked
That's what I suspected.
I liked Rogue One more than Solo.
Yeah.
I thought Solo was better than The Last Jedi. But overall, it was just kind of okay. I don't know why it's getting.
Okay.
I don't know why it's getting slammed the way it is by people. Like it was better than The Last Jedi, and The Last Jedi made a ton of money.
Well, it's had a quieter opening than the others, right?
Yeah, I think it did half of what they thought it was going to open up at.
Yeah, maybe that's a big part of it. Just kind of seeing that. I mean, I'm sure they're still profiting from it, right?
Probably,
but yeah, if the numbers are low, then like compared to what they expect, or compared to how the last movie did, maybe that's makes it easier to hate on it.
But the best way that I can describe how this movie felt like watching it. Do you remember the episode of The Simpsons where Marge and Homer do a flashback to when they were in summer camp together, and Marge prank phone calls Mo, and it's like teenage Mo answers the phone, and he gets a prank call, and so he does the thing where he threatens the person on the phone, and as he hangs up the phone, he looks at the camera and he goes, and that's the origin of that. That's what watching this movie felt like. The whole thing was every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, Mo could pop up on the screen and go, and that's the origin of that. Like the origin of Han Solo's gun, the origin of the Millennium Falcon, the origin of his relationship with Lando, the origin of his relationship with Chewie, the origin of everything in the movie.
Of his name, right?
Oh yeah. Oh man, that was stupid.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about that part.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're saying it doesn't have a ton of substance outside of just making references to things.
When it stops referencing, like when it stops trying to explain Han Solo stuff, when it's just working on telling the story, it really works well. Like it's kind of an interesting story, but it always gets bogged down with and then here's the origin of Han Solo's wardrobe. They don't actually go into that.
Take you out of the movie.
Yeah, a little bit. Like when the movie is original, it works really well, but then it gets bogged down with other garbage.
What's your take on what's her name?
Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke.
She was fine.
Okay.
I don't have any problems with her. This is a movie where they're setting up, like you can tell they want to make more Han Solo movies.
Mm-hmm.
So they set up a bunch of stuff for the sequel that we're probably not going to get now because the movie didn't do so well, which is a shame because I want to see where they go with the character and whatnot. I'd like to see where they go with it.
Yeah, I think the next independent movie is either a Obi-Wan movie or a Boba Fett movie.
I think they said Boba Fett, but
okay.
But the stuff with her was interesting because it's new.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to talk about without spoiling anything, so I think I'm just gonna stop. But it's definitely worth watching. I mean, I liked it. I didn't have as many problems with it as I do with Rogue One.
Yeah.
So
but you didn't enjoy it as much.
I think I enjoyed it. Well, it's difficult to say. It's a difficult movie to explain.
I heard someone say something maybe a bit similar, that there weren't as many like lows as there are in some of the other movies, but there aren't many high highs either. Like it's just
I would agree with that 100%.
Okay. Yeah, and I was asking about Emilia Clarke because I've heard other people say that she wasn't very good, and I'm inclined to believe that because I feel like I've seen her in things and gone like, she's not really that good. Like I feel like that's a common thing amongst a lot of the Game of Thrones people, where they were perfectly cast in Game of Thrones, and then outside of that, they don't either have the flexibility or just have another note.
Yeah. That's how I feel about her girl who plays Sansa Stark. I don't know that actress's name. She's good on Game of Thrones, but she was terrible in that X-Men movie, which was also terrible.
Yeah, and I mean I've told you about my thoughts on Peter Dinklage, so
right.
I'll let it go there.
I think he's great though. I love everything he's in. He was great in X-Men Days of Future Past. He was excellent in that.
Oh, you know what? He was fine in that. That's true. And that was a pretty good movie.
Say again?
So, I said that was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, that movie was awesome.
Yeah. One of the things that when you look at like Marvel things that are done by Marvel or done by Fox, Fox is a pretty mixed bag. So you got some terrible X-Men movies like Last Stand and Wolverine Origins, and what was the one? Apocalypse, I guess, is the one you were just talking about.
Yeah.
But then you got a handful of really good ones too. Is that a good segue to Deadpool?
Yeah, that's a great segue to Deadpool. Let's talk about Deadpool now.
Yeah.
Since we both saw it. So this will begin the. Well, you know what? How about we talk about the other movie I wanted to talk about before we do Deadpool.
Save Deadpool for last?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw your segue right in the garbage can.
That's fine.
So, on your recommendation, I watched a movie called.
No, hang on. I did not. The second time, I did not recommend this movie. Your listeners are gonna walk away thinking I'm recommending movies like this one and. And what was that other one? Avalanche Sharks.
Yeah, well, that one you did recommend me.
I didn't. I sent you a picture of the cover, and was like, "Hey, this exists." Anyway,
yes. So
the movie in question is
called Curve or The Curve.
That's just Curve.
Just Curve. Okay. I liked it.
Did you?
Yeah, I liked it. I was watching it with my wife. We watched it together, and I was like, I like this movie. It's a horror thriller kind of thing.
Kind of.
So basically, the plot of the movie is a young girl who's like on the road to get married. Stops her car and helps a hitchhiker, or a hitchhiker helps her. And then about 2 minutes later, the movie takes a very dark turn, and
literally,
yeah, and the hitchhiker threatens to kill her and whatnot, and then so she wrecks the car in order to like get away from him, and then she is pinned inside the car. She can't get out for the next hour and a half. And that's basically the movie. Like the guy that tried to kill her. It turns in it's basically 127 hours meets Silence of the Lambs.
Wait, Silence of the Lambs? I don't know about that one.
Well, with the way Buffalo Bill keeps that girl in the pit.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, no, well done. Good point.
But I liked it. I thought it was fun.
I didn't. And to be fair, perhaps that lady in the water effect goes in reverse with movies too, where if you watch a movie that's good and then you watch a movie that's awful right after it, or you watch a movie that's not great right after it seems worse. I had watched a movie right before this that I really enjoyed and then turned on Curve, and I felt like, everything you said about how it plays out is true. But it felt like, like dialogue can really set a tone for a movie. And I felt like this one was like, the dialogue was that sort of like the guy's trying to be an asshole, but it's kind of over the top. And so, I don't know, it felt to me like it was a movie that thought it was smart, but it's not really. I thought, like, for instance, it seems to set up a lot of things that never pay off. Like the whole, like, the movie begins with the girl feeling kind of ambivalent about going to her, like, wedding.
Yeah, like her fiance is like a piece of trash.
Yeah, and it's it's kind of a familiar thing where you're like, okay, so she's having a hard time making a decision, standing up for herself, whatever. She's going to do that. And they never revisit that. Like, there's no little thing at the end of the movie where she's like, and now that I'm, free, I'm going to send my fiance a message saying it's off or call him or something. And there were a lot of little things that were kind of like that Chekhov's gun where something gets set up and never pays off, except for in the last act, because the way that works, generally speaking, is that there's something in the first act that pays off in the last act. And in this one, they threw a Chekhov's gun in the last act. They're like, hey, we've shown you this butcher knife or whatever. We've had all these weapons and things around that never do anything. By the way, here's this bear trap, and it's gonna pay off right away.
Why did they have so many bear traps?
I don't know. It didn't make any sense.
There were so many.
Yeah. And it's not his house, So in terms of it being something that he would do, that's not really the case because it's not his place. The house belongs to a seemingly innocent family.
Yeah.
Who just bear traps the hell out of their yard.
Yeah. If you live in the woods, there's going to be bears. Are they trying to
keep them at your house?
Like, you kind of want them to just leave.
Yeah.
There were so many bear traps. There was like a video game where you could put traps out.
Yeah. So if they catch one, then they're like, hey, that's my pet bear. Yeah. It's in a bad mood most of the time because
its leg
is in a trap.
His leg's broken and hanging there.
Yeah. I guess there's not much more to say really about the movie because there's not much more to it than that. You're right. It's sort of a survival movie mixed with a little bit of a horror movie, and so she's in place the whole time. I think when she's on her own, it's not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like the survival part of it's not so bad. So, although I don't know, I feel like, see, now it's been a little while since I've seen it now. But I feel like they have her do like kind of like all the check the box kind of things. Like, oh, she manages to get some food by eating a rat. Here's what she does when she has to pee, But I don't know that you could make a movie where someone's trapped in place without purposely or accidentally checking off all those things too. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I was interested in finding out, like when she does have to pee, she pees in that bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, cause she's there for a few days, trapped in the car for a few days. And like I've said to my wife during it, I was like, it must be disgusting in there at one point. Cause she finds like those wet wipes and she like tries to give herself like a little shower.
Yeah.
A whore's bath, as it's called. And
starting now.
And so I was like, she must just be a filthy mess, which is disgusting. And then, like, she kills the one rat and is able to figure out how to eat it. And then what I thought was kind of lame about the movie was that everything she needed was within arm's reach in that car.
Yeah.
Except her cell phone, which she didn't find until right at the end, where it starts ringing next to her head.
Yeah, she finds her phone, and I don't know. I feel like kind of like the bear trap thing. Like, stuff was set up and didn't have any time to simmer. It's like, hey, I found my phone, and then he takes it away. It's like, I didn't find my phone.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And she's like, I called the police, and he's like, no, you didn't. I saw your call list.
Yeah. Which I kind of thought as soon as she said it. She's like, I called the police. I'm like, well, he's going to be able to check that.
Right.
And immediately he's like, nah, no, you didn't. I'm like, oh yeah.
And then when there's that cop at the top of the hill during the storm, and she decides to just start yelling for help instead of laying on the horn in the car.
Right. Yeah, does she ever actually hit the horn?
Yeah, she like hits it a bunch, and the cop was like, "Ooh, what's that noise?" And then she just starts screaming for help rather than laying on the horn.
Just continuing to hit the horn.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yes, that would make a lot more sense. Like, the horn is louder than my voice.
Right.
And it doesn't strain my, throat, because I'm sure she'd been yelling for like a day at that point or two.
Another thing about the movie is that, like you said, I don't have a whole lot to talk about with it other than to say that I liked it. But I went to the IMDb page for it to see like what, if there's like any trivia or whatnot that might be interesting about it.
Yeah.
And there's two things, and the movie was greenlit back in 2007. Eva Mendes was supposed to be the starring role, played by Julianne Hough.
I wouldn't mind watching Eva Mendes in a movie where she's on screen the whole time.
I didn't mind this lady. I thought the lady who was in it did pretty good. She's like a Dancing with the Stars girl too.
She's a what?
She's like a dancer from Dancing with the Stars. And and that's like the only bit of trivia about the movie.
Huh.
Remember we watched that one movie about the haunted house?
Dead House.
Yeah, the Dead House. And like the only bit of trivia was that it was the first movie that featured some new audio thing.
Yeah, ground shaking audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to like her, and I wanted to like the guy actor too. Like because it's a kind of low budget movie. I want it to be good. Plus, I'm spending my time watching it, so I want it to be good. But I don't know. I didn't really care for either of them. I was like, this acting's kind of subpar.
Yeah, I thought the guy was pretty bad. Like the beginning where he stops to help her fix the car.
Yeah. And
he like takes off his shirt and whatnot. I mean, that was pretty sexy, but Well,
yeah, I assume that if it was a tape, that part would be worn a little thin.
One other thing I wanted to mention was about the movie is, since we're still talking about Curve.
Right.
I had it in my head a second ago and now I've lost it. She was able to make fire. Like she figured out how to make a fire, but she didn't burn down the tree stump that was blocking her door from opening.
I didn't think about that, but I did think that she was able to make what seemed like an incredible amount of fire out of like some postcard size stripper advertisements.
Yeah. And we also never get any kind of closure on whether or not she's going to stick with the boyfriend or the fiance, but my feeling is that no, she wasn't.
Yeah, it seems like, everything was pointing in that direction, but it just never... I don't think you'd need it spelled out to go, she's gonna leave him, but at the same time, it's like, well, if I'm gonna kind of watch all this build-up towards her being able to stand up for herself, why not show it?
Yeah.
And the end of the movie, too, where she's like... They just kind of leave the guy there. and I've never used a bear trap. I don't have much reason to. But I would imagine that it's possible, being as how we have opposable thumbs and are the people who can set the bear traps to begin with, that it's possible to get out of them. So
I don't know why she would leave him there.
Yeah, it seemed like a dumb decision.
Yeah, the ending of the movie is a real letdown.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I can't really remember any highlights. Was there any? I mean, what were the things that you liked about it the most? Since you said you enjoyed it,
I just kind of enjoyed the whole thing, like as a whole. Like because I expected it to be a bad movie that my wife and I could make comments and joke about while we're watching it. And about halfway through it, I realized we hadn't been talking about it at all. We were just kind of watching it, enjoying it. I even said at one point, "I'm enjoying this."
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. Just kind of the full package experience.
Yeah. And the lead actress she's all right to look at, and she's trapped in a car the whole time.
Just how you like him.
All right, and with that, we can begin our Deadpool conversation.
Yeah, sure.
So if you haven't seen Deadpool and you're planning on it, we'll be doing spoilers in this chit chat. You can begin.
Oh, all right then. Yeah. So I think I'd mentioned to you before that I was a little hesitant about this movie, a little worried that they wouldn't be able to do, what they did with the first Deadpool. They wouldn't be able to make something that fun twice, and that, it's coming out relatively quickly. And by the time it came out, I think I had allowed myself to get, in spite of being hesitant and nervous that it's going to be bad, I think some part of me also was just really excited to go anyway, and I guess the hopeful part of me.
Yeah.
And I guess, in the end, it ended up being pretty much what I had expected originally. For me, anyway, I kind of was like, well, these are the jokes that I really enjoyed in the first one didn't seem to be there, or things like them that hit the right notes to give me the same kind of oh, that's a different kind of experience. So I just didn't get that enjoyment. And then the notes that were hit that were the same, the jokes that were pretty much on point with the first one were so much the same, but without the heart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just that the first movie was capturing lightning in a bottle, and it can't be done again, or that they did it and it was rushed and it was done lazily, because it just seemed like the jokes were weak, they were too long, they were repetitive, and they just really lacked heart. The whole movie, and he jokes twice, which says something in the movie about lazy writing, but that doesn't make it not lazy. And the things that were lazy writing are the sort of things that you can kind of grant a movie that's not very serious and go yeah, sure, okay, it's convenient that this or that happened. But when the jokes aren't good, when I'm not laughing at Deadpool, I'm not sure Deadpool's got anything else to offer me,
Really? Okay.
So, yeah, and there are some other things too that I'll say too, but for now, how was it for you?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun. I liked the first one better.
Mm-hmm.
This one was not as good as the first one, but it was still a fun movie to watch for me.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you about the some of the comedy not landing like the first one did. I think a lot of that has to do with the tone of the movie. It starts off where they murder his girlfriend.
Yes.
And so now it's everything he's doing for the rest of the movie is because he's sad,
Yeah.
rather than rather than like in the first one, everything that happens is because he gets turned into a monster, a monster of a person.
Right.
And then at the end of that movie, he's reunited with the love of his life. And then in this one, the first thing they do is they take that away from him again permanently. So, I didn't really understand why they had to do that. Right away like that. It just because everything that happens after that is it's from like tonally it's from a point of grief. Like he's in a real bad place because of it.
Yeah, sort of. I don't know. I mean, like the first one, you're right. You know, he gets turned into a monster and he's trying to get revenge. This one, his wife is murdered, or I guess fiance is murdered, and so he tries to adopt a kid 2/3 of the way into the movie. Right. You know, like it's not that he's hunting down the people who killed her. He did that already. And then, I mean, I know the threads there in dialogue of like, oh, I want to have a baby. And then he's like, hey, here's this kid. It's kind of like a baby. And these people I'm with that I don't really have much connection to are kind of like family. And I don't know. I feel like the movie wanted it to be some sort of personal growth story, but it's just not there.
Right.
And when it came, you know, here are the two things I did enjoy about it. I kind of liked Cable, and I really liked Domino.
Yeah.
But when she first showed up, that whole interaction with them, where she's like yes, and he's like no, and then yes, and no. Kind of yes, but kind of no. And they just went back and forth for like 40 seconds on this yes-no argument. And I was like, I don't know when I'm supposed to be laughing here. Like, or what part is supposed to be making me laugh, but it's just not doing it. But then fortunately, when it came time for her luck ability to come into play, I thought that actually paid off pretty well.
That was cool.
That was the part of the movie that actually, see, that's what I'm talking about with the things don't need to be the same note, but maybe give me a similar feel. She gave me a similar feel where I was like, oh, this is new. This is fresh.
Okay.
You know, and so creative, you know, I could say like, hey, the stuff that's going on here with her feels creative. I'm not just watching an action scene. I'm watching an action scene that's got something really unique about it. And that's what I felt like most of the first movie was like. Here it really came out with her, and then when it came to more emotional sort of stuff, like personal growth kind of things, I felt like it could have been maybe fleshed out a little more, or maybe I just wanted to see him more because I did like him, but like I felt like there was more of that actually with Cable than there was with Deadpool.
Yeah. Interesting. I liked Cable. I thought he was cool. I wish they had done a little bit more with him. Like I don't really know what his powers are. He's like, because everything he did came from his like magic eye, and I don't really know what Cable's powers are in the comics either. Other than
I know nothing of that.
Yeah. I liked Cable. I liked Domino. I liked Deadpool. The one thing that I thought was kind of annoying was the taxi driver, how he kept trying to be involved.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It didn't feel as organic as the first one. Like a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the comedy that happens in the first one is real organic. Like it happens along with the movie. Whereas in this one, it was like everything was leading to a joke.
Yeah, kind of like they had done some brainstorming with jokes on a whiteboard and then went, all right, we want to include that, so let's make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they work and a lot of times they didn't. One joke that I really liked, which was really quiet, was like the teenage Negasonic Warhead, her girlfriend, Yukio or whatever, where every time she says, hi, Deadpool, he goes, hi, Yukio. That had me giggling like crazy.
Yeah, you know, I actually enjoyed that too. I don't know that it made me actually laugh, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's kind of quiet. I think when you say like organic, like something that just seems like it's there, it's like happening there. It's not. It didn't feel like it was like, hey, we have to build everything around this or hammer it in.
Right.
Like,
it's been 45 seconds since we had a joke. We need a joke here.
Right. So I'm with you on that. I found myself wanting to see those interactions more. I'm like, bring her back. have her be part of the team.
Right.
That it doesn't get killed in 3 seconds after showing up.
See, I thought that was funny too.
When everyone died?
Yeah. They blame it on the wind shear. I thought that was funny.
I think I'm not going to say that wasn't funny. It didn't make me laugh. I don't mind it. I think the disappointment I had there is that Terry Crews wasn't in it more. Cause,
that was when he showed up, I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in it at all. And then they get rid of him like 2 seconds later.
Yeah. I was thinking, hey, here's someone, if I can't really enjoy Deadpool that much, I'm really not enjoying his interactions with, I don't know, whatever that guy's name is. He's like Napoleon Dynamite, gotten fatter.
Oh, TJ Miller?
Yeah.
Oh, I like TJ Miller.
I don't know anything about him as a person. I don't know about any of his other stuff, but their interactions, I was like, man, this is like, I feel like I'm seeing them do the brainstorming now. Mm-hmm. Like they're just doing it on camera, and they're like, hey, we happen to be filming that, so we'll just keep it.
I did like when Cable took TJ Miller hostage. He's like, I will tell you everything you want to know. I don't want to get hurt. Whatever you want to know, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that actually was pretty funny. I'll give you that.
And then he goes to his house and he says, he's like, sorry, I'm opening a door for my wife. She says, hi, everybody.
Hi, Jill.
When he shows up at the house and he's like, yeah, I told him everything about you, so he'll probably, oh, there he is. He's here already.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good joke,
that was pretty good. That was pretty good. But when the team showed up and Terry Crews was there, I was like, all right, cool. Since I'm enjoying, I wanted to call her Lucky, Domino. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, maybe the side characters will do more. And then he was gone, and I like Terry Crews. So I was like, oh man, that stinks. But when it comes to the way the movie looks, like I know, or at least I'm pretty sure that Ryan Reynolds has wanted to keep things looking a certain way, like kind of keep some of the cheap aesthetic. And so I guess I can't fault that, but I will say like that it took me out of the movie a couple times, like Cable's arm. And Colossus's everything, like just the look of it. And I'm like, Juggernaut was pretty funky looking too. But with Colossus especially, I'm like, I can't stop watching this feeling like it's just a cartoon. And it was a little distracting.
Hold on a second. One of my kids is yelling at me.
Sure thing.
What? Alex, I'm busy right now, okay? Okay, bye-bye. Don't worry, I got rid of him.
There was...
I agree that Colossus, like the CGI on Colossus looked kind of bad, and the CGI on the Juggernaut was kind of bad too. But I think in a movie like this, like the quality of the animation doesn't really matter if the action or story around them is working.
Yeah.
And for me, for the most part, it was. Like, I didn't really mind that. Like, what I really want to see is someone turn into Colossus. Like, to have Colossus turn back into a guy and then turn into the Metal Man. Which is
see the transformation happen.
Yeah. And then with the Juggernaut, like, that was cool how they just kind of have him there. But this is going to be me geeking out a little bit. The Colossus a Juggernaut isn't a mutant. He's just a guy who found a magic rock that turns him into the Juggernaut. So how were they able to keep him under control?
With the mutant collar.
Yeah.
Well, also given that he has no neck.
Right. Yeah.
So a rock turned him, like, did it put the outfit on him?
Yeah.
That's odd. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's magic and stuff.
It's a magic. It's a magic rock that he carries with him, and it turns him into the Juggernaut.
Fair enough. Yeah, and that must be because I mean the effects were the Colossus effects were even worse than the first one, and it didn't bother me at all. So I think you're right in terms of like whether the movie's working for you or not. That decision to keep things kind of chintzy and funky looking, can pay off.
Well, I know that. Okay, like in the production of the movie, they had the opportunity to have a much higher budget, but Ryan Reynolds and his team like decided to go with the lower budget so that they could retain some creative control over it.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was respectable. I mean, I don't think it worked 100% in this one, but the fact that they decided not to go after the big money, super budget movie in order to make the movie they wanted to make is admirable.
Yeah, I like the idea of that, but I'd be a lot happier with it if I enjoyed the movie more.
Yeah.
But I was leaving the theater, and I think my girlfriend was looking forward to the movie even more than I was. Well, no, a lot more than I was. And she was really disappointed, and I was like, for some reason, we're both walking out of here unhappy with the movie, but for some reason, I still feel like I have more hope for a third one.
Yeah.
Like that, like trying to follow up. If it's a trilogy, the middle one, often stinks.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe I shouldn't get my hopes up, but I feel like maybe with the characters established, like Domino and Cable, there, if they decide to do another one, which I would imagine they probably will, if they give it more time, maybe they'll come up with something, some new creative, fresh ideas.
Yeah. That would be good to see. I think the next movie they're going to make is an X-Force movie, not like Deadpool 3, but X-Force the movie.
Okay. Well, I heard that Josh Brolin, that's his name, right? Josh
yeah.
Brolin? Yeah. That he signed on for 4 movies.
Okay.
So, but I've also heard that Ryan Reynolds hasn't confirmed that they're even going to do another one. So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
If they do an X-Force one, I don't know. If it's got, I like Negasonic Teenage, whatever, and Domino and Cable. If they're in it, and Deadpool, there's a chance that he'll be as funny, make some jokes that are as funny as the ones in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I will. I'd watch that. I'd enjoy it.
Would you watch a version if it was just as good as this second one?
No, I wouldn't bother.
Okay.
Yeah, I got no interest in seeing this one again.
Okay, I'd like to see it again.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Who do you like? Not that it has to have one, like this specifically, but like, who's the bad guy
in this movie?
Yeah, who's the antagonist in this movie?
It's Cable.
Okay.
Cable, and then after they figure, like, they come to an agreement, it's the kid.
Right.
But yeah, like the villain isn't crystal clear. It's just kind of like Deadpool just trying to stop something from happening.
Yeah, and then like the worst person in the movie who gets run over at the end. The worst person, they're just not really present.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah. Yeah, the weird preacher monster man, the guy who wants to cure people of mutantism.
Yeah, and it's not, like I said, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily that things have to be that cut and dry. But I think when it's not, the movie's not about that sort of conflict where there's just a bad guy, that you can lead up to, conquering or losing to, that it's. I don't know. I feel like that's got to be done pretty carefully.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah. Well, that was Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
I'd like you to see the Han Solo movie just so I can hear what you have to say about it.
Well, I've been hearing overall more positive responses than I expected. Mm-hmm. What you're saying sounds a lot like what I did expect from it, and that it kind of what I felt like the previews felt like.
I'll tell you what.
Like, well, that's a movie.
I'll tell you what I really like. Do you know the story, like the troubled production of the movie? How it had
about the original directors, and
I'd love to see what their guys' movie was gonna be, because if it was gonna be like, I don't know if you've seen any of their other movies, like 21 or 22 Jump Street.
I saw the second one.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And they also did the Lego movie.
I love that.
Yeah. And so I would love to see what their Star Wars movie was going to be. It's really a shame, because I bet it was going to be something real tongue in cheek, like a lot of fun moments. Not a robot that's really concerned with robot rights, because that happens in the movie. There's a robot that's really concerned with robot rights.
Well then, yeah, I've heard that they Catherine. Is it Catherine something?
I think it's Kathleen Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy, yeah. Wanted to bring in someone else so that they could take out a lot of the jokes and stuff. So it was supposed to be, when it was in the hands of the original folks in charge, they're the directors, that the script had a lot of jokes in it. It was supposed to be really funny. Yeah. And then they just didn't want to, Kathleen Kennedy and I guess whoever else was involved at the top said, no, we really want this to be a more serious movie. Yeah. So some of that's in there, I guess.
Yeah, some of it's in there, and you can tell when it is, because it works. Like the stuff that's real clever and whatnot, I bet is from the original script, because a lot of the stuff is real bland.
Well, and that's what I think of most Ron Howard movies. Mm-hmm. Like they just, like, you can't walk away really going like that was bad. You just kind of walk away going like, okay,
right,
that happened. It kind of like, like the lack of lows and the lack of highs. It sounds exactly like a Ron Howard movie to me.
It's real vanilla.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know that I necessarily will get to the theater to see that, but if I do, I'll definitely share my thoughts with you.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
Well, I'll do my best.
Just go see the damn movie.
If I find myself with some free time, I'll check it out.
Yeah, that's always the problem.
What's coming up? Oh, I think the next thing is Jurassic World 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, but it looks horrible.
Yeah, but that's what I said about the first one, too. And I really enjoyed it.
The first Lost World?
Yeah. Or no, the Jurassic World. The one with Chris, the one with Chris Pratt.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be terrible, and I enjoyed it, and it is terrible, but I still kind of enjoyed it.
It is terrible, but I enjoyed it. It's not Jurassic Park 3 terrible, but it was a fresh new kind of terrible that I enjoyed.
Now, in my eyes, Jurassic Park 3 is the second best of the Jurassic Park movies. because the very worst is The Lost World. That is just the worst, because it's not good. It thinks it's good, and it's 2.5 hours long. Uh-huh. Jurassic Park 3 is awful, knows it's awful, and it's a sweet hour and a half. and you can laugh so much at it.
We have to do Jurassic. We should do a commentary episode of Jurassic Park 3.
Please.
For the release of the Jurassic World 2.
Oh yeah, we could definitely do that.
100%. Maybe we'll do that real soon.
I mean, and the two of us have seen that movie so many times, we'll be making the jokes before the things even happen.
Yeah, right.
Pardon me. Yeah, like before stuff's on screen, you'll be already laughing about it.
Right. All right.
No, call for help.
Alan. Anytime the dinosaurs are talking. Call for help. God, it's so bad. So stupid. So many people okayed every... Think about all the people that okayed all of those decisions to get to where they were. Who directed that? Isn't that Joe Johnson that directed that?
I don't know. But I think it had like 5 writers.
Ugh.
And like some of them had written some really cool stuff before that.
I still wish we got that original Jurassic Park 4 where they create the monster dinosaur human hybrids.
Oh, it's coming. I mean, think about it. We got the Lost World where there's a Raptor Rex thing. And then the Lost World 2 where clearly they're like, hey, it's another mutant dinosaur. I mean, they're going to... Who knows what they spliced it with this time? Probably a human. Probably there's some human DNA in there. Because, I mean, it looks like it's getting ready to, like... I mean, it looks like it's stalking a girl, like a little girl.
Yeah.
Creeping up in her room like a human pervert. So, I mean, they might be like, oh, it's a Velocipervert Rex. You know, like, who knows? But if it doesn't have human DNA, I think we're only...
He drives an old box van. Hello.
Well, if there's no human... If there's no human DNA in this one, I think we're only like 1 or 2 movies away from that.
That'll be...
And I think Chris Pratt has like originally signed on for like 8 of these movies.
He'd be stupid not to. They all make like $2 billion.
Well, and maybe by like the 4th one, maybe they, instead of having a dinosaur with human DNA, they'll just take Chris Pratt and give him Velociraptor DNA.
Oh, yeah, turn him into a dinosaur.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the only way he can solve there's a dinosaur virus that's killing the dinosaurs and he has to save them, but the only way he can do it is by turning into a part dinosaur.
He'll be like the Rock at the end of Doom.
Yeah. Doom was a fun movie. Remember Doom?
I do.
We saw that in
I
theaters,
enjoyed it. Yes, and it was surprisingly enjoyable. And I hear other people hate on it, and I've seen it a couple times, like maybe 3, and I still think like, yeah, this was bad and kind of enjoyable. So I don't know where the hate comes from.
Yeah. Probably because
maybe diehard Doom fans.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the game. But I mean, of all the video game turn movie, I mean, that's the one that had the most. I mean, it had like a 5-minute scene where you're just watching the game happen.
Yeah, you're first person mode.
Yeah. Hey, did you ever see that movie Hardcore?
Oh my God, I was just about to say that. Yeah. No, I haven't. Have you seen it?
Me neither. No, I saw it. I saw that it was like in the, I don't know, maybe it was Showtime or HBO, one of those lists, and I thought about watching it, and I was like, I don't feel like that right now.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that yet. I was just about to mention that too. That's funny.
I'm curious, but don't want to invest the time.
We should do a commentary episode of that. That's what we should save all the movies we're not looking forward to watching for. We'll just do commentary episodes.
Well, there will be like no commentary on it though. We'll just be like, I'm watching it. It's happening. Although neither of us had seen Hellraiser and we managed to talk through that one.
Yeah, that was fun. You know what I really regret is that when Scott was here that we didn't just do a commentary episode of that movie we watched.
Oh man.
Because
Life Force.
That
would have. Yeah, we'll have to get him back over here.
Yeah, because that was some funny stuff we were saying. The London hallway and everything.
Yeah. Trust us, listeners. We were hilarious.
We were killing it.
and if you can't tell by the way we're talking about it, that's mostly our friend Scott.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll have to get him to be in the States and get me over to the East Coast, and we can do that.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. All right, Matt. Well, it's been a great time.
For me too.
Time to say goodbye. We'll try and be a little more consistent with our episodes going forward.
We'll do what we can.
Yeah, whenever we're able. We both live very busy rock and roll lifestyles. So
that's it.
So if that's the end of the what was that?
I got a text message.
Oh, it sounded like I said a wrong answer. If that's the end of the reel, we'll see you next week in film.
See ya.